I've never thought it will be on 6th of October because it's such a wonderful, wonderful day, and we are proud of our troops, proud of our soldiers, proud of everything we have, that Egypt is a strong country. This is the only day I've never thought it will happen. I know that we were threatened. I know that he was going to be killed, and he knew it also. After.
He knew it? You knew it?
Oh, sure, both we knew it.
October 6, 1981, the annual parade celebrating Egypt's 1973 strike against Israel. On that morning, President Anwar Sadat takes his place in the reviewing stand. He elects not to wear a bulletproof vest and removes the bodyguard directly in front of him, so his view of the parade is unobstructed.
I was behind him, and for the first time, I took 4 of my grandchildren with me. And before what happened, he came and he just looked at me behind him, and I put the 4 grandchildren. And he looked and he smiled, such a wonderful smile, which has so many meanings. And one of my friends, she said, "What does this mean, Mrs. Sadat, all this smiling here?" And I said, "Well, it's because of the children, you know, our grandchildren." He was such a wonderful man. And then it happened in front of us. All of us, the children were screaming and crying, and the bullets coming here and there. And I heard all these things I couldn't believe. And then I went rushing down. I faced another officer whom I know, with all his suit full of blood. And he looked at me, he said, "Don't worry, he is all right. The president is all right." They took him to the hospital.
The attack by Islamic fundamentalists masquerading as Egyptian soldiers lasts 45 seconds. They wound 28 people and leave 7 dead. One of the gunmen is killed, the other 3 captured.
I went directly to the hospital in Maadi, and I found my children, all of them there. And then I saw the doctor whom the chief of the surgeons there, who lost his son during the war. And I saw him and I told him, "What are you doing here? Why don't you go inside with my husband?" He said, "Because I can't bear it, Mrs. Sadat." I get to know immediately. I went in. I found him in the bed with his military suit, and of course they opened his sleeves to give him blood. And then I found the doctors, the nurses, everyone was crying. And then I don't know, I hugged him, I kissed him, and after a while I said, "Well, no, Jehan, you have to know that you are in the hospital, that you have your children outside. They have to come and say farewell to their father." And I brought them, they came and they kissed him. And then when I left the hospital, everyone knew.
Because they knew you never would have left.
Oh, sure.
Had he been alive?
Sure.
Madam Sadat, it must have been very hard for you, on the one hand. On the other hand, the great honor that President Sadat was paid by world leaders, former presidents, kings, from all over the world who came.
Mm-hmm. That's true. It was such something which made me feel that they share with me my sadness, and they share with me the love to this man who deserves all these kings to come to Egypt and to walk in his funeral. I was also touched by Menachem Begin when he walked, and it was Saturday, the funeral, and he was not supposed to take a car or something, and he walked a long way till he reached the place for the funeral to walk. And I can't tell you the letters, the cables which I received. I still have so many of them, which from time to time I go through them and I feel I'm not alone.
Do any come to mind that are quite special for you?
The most touching one was from Jacqueline Kennedy, who went through a tragedy, and she wrote me such a letter by her handwriting. And she was sharing with me, and she was just understanding my feelings at that time, and it was very, very touching letter.
Do you think if Anwar Sadat was here today, he would say it was worth it? That was a path we should go down?
Definitely, yes. As I say it even now. With the great loss I had, but what he has done was the perfect thing to do. And that is the only way for peace.
After the death of her husband, Jahan Sadat went on to earn a PhD from the University of Cairo and is now a guest lecturer at the University of Maryland. She told me that her husband would not have hesitated to stand up to Saddam Hussein.